I know that Clash Royale isn't in the best of times at the moment with recent updates and new card releases, but I think it's important to realize that they are still capable of making good updates. That's why in this video, I wanted to look back through Clash Royale's history for the best updates, in order to find out what is the best update ever released by Clash Royale, and hopefully inspire the devs to reflect on what worked in the past to bring it to modern Clash Royale. In March of 2017, Clash Royale introduced a feature that was so influential it's still a big part of the game even today. I'm talking about leagues. Before leagues were added, there wasn't really much gameplay for players above 3,000 trophies. You would reach 3,000 trophies and just collect legend trophies, which meant nothing in terms of progression. The only motivation for players above 3,000 trophies was to compete for top positions in terms of worldwide ranking. But for less competitive players, there wasn't really a reason to play. So the addition of leagues was a great way for Clash Royale to account for its top players. When you got to Legendary Arena above 4,000 trophies, you would have reached leagues. The league system, which is still used today, started off with Challenger, which had 3 leagues, and then it had Master, which had 3 leagues, and finally, Champion and Grand Champion and Ultimate Champion. Along with these new leagues, Clash Royale also made it so that the season would reset every 30 days instead of 14 days, which was a great change, since 14 days was way too short for most players to get competitive. And it wasn't like the old system where you would basically be set back to square one. Leagues made resets much more balanced, so it wouldn't take too much grinding to get back to where you were originally, while also ensuring that more serious players would go up against other serious players, rather than a pro player going up against casual players when the league reset. And the best part of this update was the new draft chests. Clash Royale actually gave players an incentive to grind to higher leagues, since the higher you went, the better your end of season draft chest would be. The draft chest was very similar to the modern day Legendary Kings chest, in that you got to draft your card from a selection of 2, but at the time it was one of the best chests in the game. In terms of rewards, even the worst draft chest, which you were guaranteed to get even if you didn't play once after you got to 4,000 trophies, was between a magical and a giant chest in terms of rewards. And the best draft chest, which you would get if you got to Ultimate Champion, would give you rewards that are slightly better than a modern day Legendary Kings chest, with it being possible to even get 2 legendaries. The reason I think this update was so great was because the developers made a really good update for the top 5% of the player base, when they could have just gone and kept making updates that most of the player base could actually use. It shows the commitment that the old dev team had to making the game fun for the whole player base, including the top players who aren't even the target audience to most updates. And the thing is, leagues were such a versatile feature that even today, they are a big part of Clash Royale for players who want to go a little further in terms of progress, meaning that they still have content to grind through even if they want more rewards or things to work towards, which I think is so great for Clash Royale, easily making it one of the greatest updates of all time. I know a lot of people are going to question me for this, but I think the update that brought the Lucky Drop Pass in late 2024 is one of the greatest updates in the game's history. And Clash Royale was on a crazy redemption arc after the P.E.K.K.A vs Evo Mega Knight season. Starting with the Pass Royale update, Clash Royale removed the Gold Pass, which was a great change, because the Gold Pass was one of the worst offers in the game, and it would have been a scam for anyone to buy, so I'm grateful that it was removed before anyone who didn't know much about the game bought it. Another great change in the update was that it was changed to only have 60 tiers in the Pass Royale instead of the 120 in the old Pass Royale, which meant that it didn't feel as much of a grind as the old pass. And combining this with the fact that both the free and the paid pass had rewards at every tier means that it was just a better system for both free-to-play and pay-to-win players. On top of that, updated Lucky Drops were provided to both free and paid tiers. Now, the updated Lucky Drops weren't as good as the original Lucky Drops, but since they were so much more common, it was actually a buff in the long run, and the updated Lucky Drops sometimes felt like a chore. But considering that free-to-play players were guaranteed at least a 4-star Lucky Drop every season was still pretty good, and Clash Royale also brought back the Royal Wild Chest and added an Evolution Shard to the free pass. Even cosmetic features were awesome in this update, with Clash Royale providing an animated banner even in the free pass.
And here is an important change: the animated battle banner is now available in the free pass, so you don't have to pay anything to reach or to unlock an animated banner, which will be the first banner for some people probably.
And the paid pass was still pretty good in this update, with it having thousands of gems and even a Legendary Kings chest as part of it, so it immediately offset its prices with these rewards alone. Now, I admit that it was still expensive, but I think it provided a lot of value, especially compared to the update for Losers Diamond Pass. But the good update wasn't confined to the Pass Royale alone. Clash Royale also improved the daily task streak to make it more rewarding to play games, as as well as providing more crowns. And I think the best part of this update was the lucky drop tied to the streak. If you stacked your streak enough, you could consistently get 3, 4, and even 5-star lucky drops daily. And at one point, I was actually getting 3 and 4-star lucky drops almost daily, which keep in mind would give you really good rewards. The amount of progression you would get in this update as a free-to-play player was honestly pretty similar to the Magic update Clash Royale.
All drops had a 1.5% chance of being legendary, but you open them once a day. Now if you open drops for a month, you can ignore the boring math, but you would have about a 36% chance to get the all legendary drop every month, which isn't really too bad. The new drop has a 0.5% chance of being 5 stars, which is about 1/3 of the old one, but you open it about 170 times a month. So assuming you open them regularly every day, you will have around 57% chance to get a 5-star drop every month, which is about 1.5 time buff to the old one.
But this wasn't a great thing for pay-to-win players, since the progression for free-to-play players was so good that it wasn't even worth it to buy the Clash Royale, and the update just kept getting better. In the same update, Clash Royale also made the second evolution slot to unlock at King level 30 instead of King level 54, which was such a great change, since getting past King level 50 was so unrealistic for a lot of players despite them having more than one evolution, and it was also creating a massive divide between the players who were above King level 54 and could play with 2 broken evolutions, while the rest of the player base was at a clear disadvantage in both levels and evolutions. A smaller but still great change was that boost potions were changed to last 3 hours instead of 1 hour, which made them actually not useless, since you could now upgrade cards to a higher level for a more realistic amount of time. Now, I know that this isn't technically part of the update, but the initiative from Clash Royale to make 2v2 League a thing at around the same time was also so awesome, and it definitely brought more players back to the game.
Oh, and there will be an infinite tier that gives you a lucky drop every time you complete it. If you finish all the tiers, you'd get 66 drops, but realistically I don't see anyone going beyond 40.
Overall, this update and its associated game modes deserves a spot on this list as one of the greatest updates of all time. And it really confuses me that Clash Royale went so downhill considering they had such a good rhythm after this update. I feel like it was expected that Clan Wars 1 would be my pick as one of the greatest updates in Clash Royale. Clan Wars 1 was structured to be fun but also not feel like too much of a grind. And to be honest, even to this day, it confuses me why Clash Royale changed it so drastically with Clan Wars 2, when what they had was already perfect. The structure of the original Clan Wars was a 2-day sort of war, where the first day was Collection Day and the second day was the actual war day. On Collection Day, you would complete 3 battles, whether it be 2v2, sudden death, or double elixir battle. And if you won more games, you could collect higher level cards, which you could use on day 2, where each member in the clan could contribute to the clan collection and build decks with these new cards. On War Day, each player had one battle that they had to make the best that they could, since if you won, you could give your clan more War Day victories, which would ultimately lead you to win the war.
I won more cards than you guys, just like I have more trophies. 4,650.
Today, we each get a single 1v1 battle using only the cards we won yesterday. Every win counts if we want to be atop the leaderboard and move to higher ranks. So go out there and fight!
I feel like the original Clan Wars 1 just felt so interactive, since the entire clan would have to strategize with a common card pool. And it's not like how it is now where your entire clan is just doing these clan war battles on their own. Clan Wars 2 doesn't feel like a quote-unquote clan war for me. It just feels like a grind where each player is doing battles for basically no actual purpose and no strategy, where the clan can come together and theorize. The OG Clan Wars felt so much less like a grind, but each game you played actually mattered, which honestly made it more fun, since wins were so precious, not only on Collection Day but also on War Day. War Day battles actually meant something, rather than what it is now where you can just win games with overleveled cards. This was another reason I think the old Clan Wars system was so good. Even though Collection Day was free reign in terms of card levels, I feel like matchmaking was pretty good, since you would only go up against players in your war league. But the thing is, on actual War Day, you couldn't just cheese your way through war. If you had a lower level card in your Clan War collection compared to your actual collection, it would automatically adjust your clan Clan War deck card levels to the lower number. For example, if you had a level 6 knight in the Clan War card collection, but you had a maxed out knight, you would only get a level 6 knight on War Day. The reason I think this was so good is because it actually made grinding Clan Wars on collection day worth it, since the current system doesn't even consider this, and just lets you use your best cards in whatever matchup. I just feel like having a system where it's a 2-day Clan War but each day is really important is so much better than the 4-day system that we have currently, since it actually encouraged active clan participation, and it actually allowed clans to work together rather than leaving everyone to do their own thing separately. In the earlier days of Clash Royale, the gap between top players and new players was way too large, because League's rewards for players that reached the highest leagues was so much greater than for lower ranked players. And Clash Royale's way to combat this was one of the smartest updates ever, the Trophy Road. The issue with Leagues and Arena rewards before this update was that better rewards were locked behind higher arenas and higher leagues. This meant that in order to get a better draft chest or better chest odds, which keep in mind was one of the only ways to get rewards in the game at the time, you would need to progress to higher arenas. Now for casual players, which is most of the player base, this was an almost impossible feat, as they often had many underleveled cards and they also didn't really have the time to commit to higher arenas, and therefore kind of progressed slower through arenas, while competitive players were easily getting to the higher leagues every season, and therefore getting the better rewards. And while it can be argued that these higher tier rewards should have been reserved for more skilled players, it was getting boring for players to have to play hours to get better rewards, and at some point, it would probably result in a lower interest in the game. Trophy roads scattered rewards throughout the trophy path going to a new arena, as well as providing better rewards if you reach higher arenas. This was a great change, since it not only rewarded players for playing more games, but it also didn't feel like a grind, and it also rewarded players who wanted to be more competitive with better rewards in higher arenas, like legendary chests and better cards. This update also brought 24-hour chest boosts when you reached a new arena, which again rewards players for playing more, as they can unlock their chests quicker for a day, as well as collect more rewards from the trophy road. And the changes to the league system were also so good. Many players before this update struggled to stay in the same league because of how competitive the landscape was. In this update, Clash Royale added trophy gates, which meant that once you reached leagues at 4,000 trophies, you couldn't drop below 4,000 no matter how many games you lost.
4,000 plus is going to be much easier for players to advance. So many players are getting stuck between 4,000 and 4,500 that we've introduced something to prevent you from losing trophies.
So Trophy Floors, which is maybe a name that is pending, no, but we like it, so we might keep it. Each arena that you reach will be your new trophy floor, and you cannot drop below those trophies. So say for example, you hit 4,000, you're super stoked, you like love being in Legendary Arena, and then you lose your next match or two, and then you're down. This stops that from happening.
Every arena you hit, you get a little bit of a safety net to allow you to comfortably, confidently switch your deck, try out new cards, and you will not fall back into the previous arena.
Yeah.
Additionally, each game in leagues gave more trophies than before, making it easier for less competitive players to still get to a high league so they can get good rewards. At the end of the season, you would still reset the same way as in the old league system, but you would get the same trophy rewards as you progress through leagues again. Clash Royale did remove the draft chest in this update, but I think the trophy road rewards were actually better, since it meant that you could get cards and rewards as you played rather than getting them at the end of the season. And Clash Royale stated that the rewards would be twice as good as what you got in the old league system.
The season draft chest is going away, so the draft chest that you received at the end of the season will no longer be there. However, all the rewards in the trophy road above 4,000 trophies are significantly more than what the old draft chest give you. I think it's something like twice as much or more.
Clash Royale also added a new league in this update with Ultimate Champion starting at 7,000 trophies, and the new Royal Champion starting at 6,600 trophies, which means that this opened up new opportunities for competitive players. And what made this update even better was that going into this update, if you were already at a high trophy count, you could collect every trophy road reward up to your trophy count. I think Clash Royale should honestly take notes from what they did in this update. This update catered to both competitive and casual players and rewarded players for playing the game rather than just taking away rewards. This easily makes the trophy road update one of the greatest Clash Royale updates of all time. I really don't think there's going to be much contention to this, but the Magic update is easily the greatest update in Clash Royale's entire existence. And it's not just because of the content of the update, but how well it set up the game going forward. In terms of content, the Magic update wasn't that huge, but the reason I think it was so great was because of how well it overcame one of the largest issues the game was having, which was literally resulting in a decrease in interest of the game from 2018 to 2020. In the earlier days of Clash Royale, the sources of cards and gold were mainly just chests, and considering that most of the time you got silver and gold chests as well as crown chests, which were introduced in 2019, the rewards for free-to-play players weren't really that great. And even though players might have been getting a lot of cards, most of the cards they got in these chests weren't the cards that they were trying to level up. The issue with this, especially in Clash Royale, is that these players would often only be able to focus on one deck. This had two major disadvantages. Firstly, this meant that if a card or cards in this deck were nerfed, then this would negatively impact the player's experience. And secondly, it meant that the game would quickly become boring if a player could only get a certain deck of cards to competitive level, since it meant that they weren't able to level up other cards. Overall, progression was super slow and boring. And when Clash Royale removed quests in 2020, which would also give some higher tier chests like the Legendary chest or the Legendary King's chest, this problem became even worse. So the release of magic items, which would give players the choice on what cards they want to upgrade, as well as injecting more gold into the economy through magic coins and later on gold crates, was great.
So our goal with this update was to make it easier for you to upgrade your cards and to streamline progression in Clash Royale. And one of the ways we've done this is we're actually updating Pass Royale to include magic items, and that includes both the Pass Royale track and the free rewards.
Starting with wild cards, these were really good because they could be integrated into almost any part of the game since they were similar rewards to cards. This meant that Clash Royale could put them in chests, Pass Royale, Trophy Road, and best of all, Clash Royale's special offers. Wild cards were by far the biggest game changer, since so many players who wanted to upgrade a certain card but just couldn't get enough of the card could now choose which cards they wanted to allocate cards to. And the fact that it was spread around the game meant that just by playing the game normally, you could earn them, and it wouldn't really need to be a mindless grind. And the more elite tier of magic items was even better. The Book of Cards was also a great feature, since it allowed players to strategically boost themselves an entire level's worth of cards on cards of any rarity. And the Book of Books, the greatest magic item of all time, could work at any rarity. Since champions weren't in the game at the time, it wasn't as OP as it would turn out to be later on in the year, when Clash Royale would add champions. And the other magic items such as the magic keys and the magic coin were also so good, since these could not only overcome the issue of chest waiting times being the thing that slows down progression, but also give a free upgrade to any card, which saved players from having to spend more gold. And the reason I think this update was so great is because it allowed for a wide range of features in the game to give magic items, such as rewards in a global tournament, or rewards in clan wars, or rewards in special challenges. However, the thing that kind of let the update down was the fact that it kind of made pay to win in Clash Royale OP. Making different tiers of magic items means that Clash Royale is kind of rewarded to put higher tier rewards behind a paywall, meaning that players that frequently bought the Pass Royale or special offers are immediately given a huge advantage. And even though Clash Royale did try to cover for this by giving a free book of cards in the free pass, as well as a Royal Wild chest later on in the year, this update would ultimately lead the game to becoming more and more pay to win as more magic items were released. Either way, I stand on my decision for the magic update being the greatest update in Clash Royale's history. I hope you enjoyed this video though. Thanks for watching.